One and a two and a three and a four and a. Oh, counting! Oh my lord! Two and a three and a four and a one and a two and a. 2 and a 3 and a 4 and a 1 and a 2 and a 3 and a 4 and oh, what do you think tonight's show is all about? How's everybody tonight? What a week, what a week. My name's Chris Quinlan. How are you going? This is Melbourne Musos Facechook Live on a lovely Friday. Oh! I took the pooch for a walk. It was bitterly cold. It was sunny and everything like that, but oh, the wind. Oh! Dad, you love Doris the drum kick more than me. Yes, the pooch. Okay, and this is Doris. Hello, Doris. How are you? Okay, now, I think you got the idea of what tonight's show is all about. 1 and a 2 and a 3 and a 4 and a 1 and a 2 and a 3 and a 4 and a 1 and a 2 and a 3 and a 4 and a 1 and a 2 and a 3 and a 4. Got to count. Oh, beautiful! That's what goes on. And there you go. So what happens is I'm going to talk about counting. I'm going to talk about a few different things, how to combine counting and all this sort of business. And what this is a drum show after all. And I'll stick on track with time. And there we have it. Both with the show and with time. Okay, so what happens is one of the things you want to be able to do is verbalize. Now, that doesn't mean what I was saying last week, with all deep respect to Keith Jarrett, when he was playing and he was going, yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah, all that sort of business. It's one of those funny things I was talking about last week. I hope you checked Keith Jarrett out, all that sort of stuff, and I hope you checked out Paul Moshan from last week as well. And what happens now is I'm going to talk about counting. Now, when we're counting, of course, when you have the metronome, I'll put him up here, the little rascal, and he's going to give you 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. Bit of dance to that. And then, of course, when you have your... Well, one of the things, I'll talk about this. I didn't have it scripted, but I will talk about it. I've talked about it a few weeks ago too. But one of the most important things you can do is a 4 on the floor bass drum with hi-hat 2 and 4. There it is. And a 2 and a 3 and a 4 and a 1 and a 2 and a 3 and a 4 and a 1 and a 2 and a 3 and a 4 and there you go. You see, you sort of work it up, get it in, lock it in, and away you go. You see, one of the things I tend to do lately with my beloved students, I try to get them to count. Oh boy, it's flat resistance sometimes with some of the little poppets. Oh, bless their little drumming hearts and all that. It's a little bit trying to get a guitarist to read sheet music. Oh, my Lord, it's that hard. Oh, hello, audience. There you go. So 1 and a 2 and a 3 and a 4. Put a little spike into the first beat. 1 and a 2 and a 3 and a 4. So often when someone plays a single stroke, well, of course, it's flat, like that. But when you want to delineate the beat, you need your counting systems, you know. So this is like 1 and a 2 and a 3 and a 4 and a. What you're feeling is the rate of a crotchet. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. I'll put in the bass drum there. Oh, yeah. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Of course, triplets. The 1 and the 2 and the 3 and the 4 and the 1 and the 2 and the 3 and the 4 and the 1 and a 2 and a 3 and a 4 and of course we've just started the show with it. But don't forget two extras, and you have the hippopotami. Hippopotamus, 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 hippopotamus. Gina Lolla Bridget, the 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 Gina Lolla Bridget. And there you go, you see. So you want just about every time signature you would ever want is made up of those kinds of counting systems, you see. And what sometimes happens is you might be playing a dead slow beat, like, oh my Lord, look at the space in between these beats. So it might be 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 E and 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4. I could be dead slow, but in my head I'm racing as if I've had 6 cups of coffee, mate. So imagine if I did this. You see, so what happens is my inner clock is racing and what you're hearing is something dead slow, but hopefully in time. Hopefully. Fingers crossed. So what happens is that's your first thing. The hi-hat is very important for this. You could take a basic beat. Make it funky. All that sort of stuff, you see. So you can get that kind of thing happening with the hi-hat too. Always remember, of course I go back to the Child of My Time story. Regular watchers of the show will know that I whip that one out on a regular basis because it's the truth. It's a musical truth, is that people like John Bonham with the old Bonham hi-hat, you know. Sometimes the reason we have the music that we have is because of the predicament that the band might be in. If I'm going to be the drumming detective, you know, sort of thing. Oh, she was so beautiful, I could have kissed her with every lip on my face. Steve Martin, Dead Men Don't Wear Plaid. With the beautiful Rachel Ward, I did that a few weeks ago. I'm repeating myself. But if I'm going to talk about that, what happens is, you got your big ass 24-inch ride cymbal. There's a 22, but John Henry Bonham had a 24. And all of a sudden, the wash, where's one, Wally? You know, that kind of thing. So, you know. That's it. I read an article today, I don't know if it popped up on my feed, that one of the songs that Led Zepp rarely played, if ever, actually they said after a couple of times they never played it again, was Four Sticks off of the Led Zeppelin 4th album. It's the track after Misty Mountain Hop. If you've got the CD, it's 2 songs after Stairway. And because it's in 5/4 and then it goes into 3/4, or the article says it's 6/8. I'm not going to argue with that just yet. But what happens is they never really played it live. You know, it seemed like a frustrating session. And to blow the frustratement out, he started rock and roll. And off they went. And that's the famous story of rock and roll being basically a jam session, and they added bits to it. And there it is, one of the classic Led Zeppelin songs. I digress. Anyway, what happens is when you've got your hi-hat, that's keeping you time, right? So what happens is one of the things you want to be able to do is delineate the time, okay? Make sure that when you're doing, say, just a single stroke roll, make sure that you're Supernaut, Black Sabbath. Frank Zappa's favourite Black Sabbath song. I read that a couple of weeks ago. There you go, look it up. Listen to the song, it's great. It's one of my favourites too. It's fantastic. It's got the little drum break in the middle. They're all hitting their bongos. And what, amongst other things. And what happens then is that with your, I'll get back onto the timing systems. You've got the crotchet, you've got quavers. So you've got 1, 2, 3, 4. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and a 2 and a 3 and a 4 and a 1 and a 2 and a 3 and a 4 and a. If you don't cut it with drums, you can always end up being a good auctioneer. And I've got 1 and a 2 and a 3 and oh, Squatty from Marketing Real Estate coming to you this week. Here you go. We've got a nice little house of the week here. Sorry, pardon me, I'm back on it. I gave that up. I actually stopped after the last erection. I stopped. I wanted to stop. But just when you're out, they pull you back in, you know. All that stuff. Just minister or everything. Oh, but I've got to stop. It's like, you know, it was comedy gold, but, you know, enough. There you go, but it's still there on my sampler. Anyway, I digress. I am sort of a bit rattly today, and I'm a bit going off at the track. So what happens is when I'm talking about these counting systems, you've got your crotchet, your quaver, your triplets, and your semiquavers. Don't forget 5s and 7s as well, and that's well known. Like, just say a word. Hippopotamus. And Gina Lollobrigida, of course, you know, nary an episode goes by without some tip of the hat to that beautiful lady. She's still with us. Anyway, there you go. And then when you start getting some of the odd time signatures, you mix them up. Okay, so what happens is when you're dealing with the different time signatures that are out there, the time signatures tend to lend themselves to different styles of music. Okay, so if you're going to talk about simple duple time, I've done a whole show on that, but if you're dealing with 2/4, it's your typical marching pattern. 6/8 is compound duple time. So whenever you're marching for Anzac Day or anything like that, you're always working in duple time. You know why? Because we've got 2 feet. That's what it is. And so many students have gone through the Will Coxon book, the 150 solos, and that particular book, I've put it up on the back in the past, and what that is you've got 10 solos in 2/4, 10 solos in 6/8, 10 in 2/4, 6/8, 2/4, right up until 150. There's a few separate ones, and the one that's listed in Year 12 is solo 132. And the style of teaching that really pisses me off is when a poor student just gets a photocopy at the beginning of the year of solo 132, Will Coxon's 130. Hey, have that ready by October. And he just swats away at it all year, sort of thing. Like last year I had a guitar student, and in his school, because of all the COVID things and all that sort of is, they only did 4 songs. He came into the lesson after the assessment. He said, okay, I've done it. I never want to hear those songs again in my life. So that's the worst kind of teaching possible for mine. My idea is to spend the year learning 30 songs, you know, that kind of thing, and then pick your favourite 4. You know, usually your favourite songs are the ones you play the best. And pick them, you know, that kind of thing. Anyway. Oh, where's that soapbox of mine? Anyway, so what goes on is that when you're playing and you're doing things, time signatures lend themselves to different styles. Now, if you're playing jazz, so 1, 2, 3, 4/4 and 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1. are a few of my John Coltrane things. When the bee stings, dum dum bam dum 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 bam dum dum dum. Elvin Jones. Thank you very much. 3-4. So jazz music, apart from, of course, Latin and all that, where jazz takes from, the influences of even jazz rock and Latin music. But in and of itself, when you're playing jazz, you've got a 2-feel, you've got a 4-feel, and you're in 4/4, and then you have 3/4. Okay, jazz waltz, etc. And then when you're joining a blues band, you might have 12/8, mate. So 1, 2, 5. The obligatory. I woke up this morning. Since my baby left me, found a new place to dwell. Down at the end of Lonely Street, a heartbreak hotel. I'm so lonely I could die. A mashup. The king gets mashed up. And that's what happens. You get 12/8. So if you're joining a blues band, you're going to need good rock beat. You're going to need a blues beat, and don't forget the obligatory shuffle. So on it goes, and there you have it. There it is. So what happens is tonight's subject is time signatures, counting systems. And now I'm going to get a little... I've already gone a bit out there, but I'll go a bit out there again, mate. So what happens is that there's a couple of things you can do. When you get into that real busy drum and bass stuff, I am talking a bit of 4/4 and all that sort of stuff, I suppose. But what happens is that there's a little bit of a thing where, you could just think right hand, right foot. Okay, so if you might have... Now, if I slowed that right down, paramadoodle, but right, left, right, left, right, left, right. Get into the habit of whatever you play with the right hand, put in your bass drum. Okay, so put in a lot if you like. It'll get pretty heavy and busy. What do you want? Double paradiddle? I just have a little snifter of Indian and Middle Eastern kit on my samples, just for a bit of, just a little bit of the old savoury business. I love that sound. Oh. I digress. Now, this is for Marcus. Hello, Marcus, if you're watching over in Indonesia, Bali and the rest, having a little holiday, and all the very best to you over there. Hope you're relaxing and kicking back with a few sherbets. But what happens is, years ago, we were talking about, the hi-hat and the way Roger Taylor from Queen used to play it. He'd be going... Have a listen, that's what happens there. Now imagine if you're busy doing all this stuff. The old splash hat, mate. Dance to that. The first person I take the piss out of is always myself. I'm now technically unemployable. I think I stole that from a chap by the name of Tubby Wadsworth, who's up in Sydney. He sort of said, you can keep your poetry. I love my poetry. Tubby, if you're watching, sorry, I've just given you a bit of a mention. There you go. We go back a while. So time signature by sticking, you see. So what happens is, one of the famous ones is, I call it in my grade 5 book, shameless plugging, rock beat plus 1. And if I talk about a rock beat being 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm playing them as crotchets, but when you're doing that, you have 8 quavers, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, 1 and 2 and 3. Now another famous drummer, a little bit less known than all the usuals, he was in the Gary Burton kind of circle of jazz with, famous Gary Burton with the vibraphone and that beautiful duet album he did with Chick Corea. Oh, I've got to blow the dust off that. It's a beautiful album, ECM Records. And Bob Moses. And he put out a book decades ago through Modern Drummer Publications called Drumming Wisdom. And it was quite out there. He had the music stuff, but he had horses, illustrations of horses there, like how you push the beat and all that. And he talked about the 8-8 concept. So instead of being 4-4, like the feeling of 4-4 would be 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, and you can feel the crotchet. Bob Moses talked about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And being able to... Then we start talking about Jack DeJohnette and the rest. And there you go. And so what happens is, if you're dealing like 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh, there you go. And what happens is, if that's 8, then, I don't know, hippopotami, you could do 5. Hippopotamus, 1, 2, 3, 4, hippopotamus, 1. Now I'm playing Frank Zappa's 13 with Vinnie Colaiuta on drums. Hippopotamus, 1, 2, 3, 4, hippopotamus, 1, 2, 3, 4, hippopotamus, 1, 2, 3, 4, hippopotamus, 1, 2, 3, 4. And for that I'm doing right, left, 1, 2, 3, 4. So I've got a basic rock beat, as basic as it gets. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. There you go. And then you put a hippopotami in the front of it. Hippopotamus, 1, 2, 3, 4. Hippopotamus, 1, 2, 3, 4. And this is, given this is a cooking show for drums, is it cooked, mate? I think I prepared one earlier for you.
2, 3, 4, hippopotamus, 1, 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 2, 3, 4, hippopotamus.
There you go. Hey, all right. I cooked that, mate. Cooked. And there you go. So you got hippopotamus. I'll take you through it. Right, left, 1, 2, 3, 4. Right, left, 1, 2, 3, 4. Got that picture? There you go. And then, of course, Gina Lola Brigida. Gina Lola Brigida, Gina Lola Brigida, Gina Lola Brigida. Oh, I think I have it there. Where is it?
Gina Lola Brigida, 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 Gina Lola Brigida.
On it goes. There you go. And what happens with that is that then you can mix it up, you see. So, you can get some of the weird time signatures happening with the subdivision, okay? And what a subdivision is basically think of it like just putting 2 time signatures together. Like, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. Da 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 da. Take 5. Joe Morello on that one. A and the Dave Brubeck Quartet. And there you have it. So that's what happens there, you see. And I better start thinking about wrapping the show up. So that's where I'm going tonight. There's one thing I'm actually calling this episode, when I put it together for Channel 31, is the inner clock. Okay, so what happens is by counting out aloud, please do it because it makes everything solid, and what you need to do is get it so that it's natural, and it also helps with your breathing and everything else that goes on. And you internalize it, that kind of thing. One of the usual things I get as a teacher is, I don't count aloud, I just count, I just say it in my head. And then it's sort of like, I'm tired, I want to go eat. Dad, can we go to Macca's after the drum? Like that. And I went, no, 1 yen, a 2 yen, a 3 yen, a 4 yen, a 1 yen. You've got to love the craft. I adore it. You know, that kind of thing. You just live it, you know, that kind of thing. So there's the inner clock. And sometimes what goes on is when you do have that inner clock, you can have moments of silence and you still have the clock ticking. You see, so if I go a 1, a 2, a 1, 2, 3, 4. I think you get the idea. What you're hearing out there is silence, but I'm sort of hoping that the musicians are probably throwing rotten fruit at me. Oh, you gave it early there, I was counting it like that, and all that sort of stuff. And what happens is that most musos have an inner clock, their own rhythm inside. Everyone's a bit different, you know, because it gets a bit onto the metabolism side. You know, of course, someone who's just had 6 cups of coffee, yeah, mate, let's go, yeah, you know, will have their metabolism working a little bit quicker than someone who's just woken up going, another 5 minutes, man, yeah, man, that kind of thing. So what starts to happen is you have vamps. One famous one is the live version of Frank Zappa's Black Page 2, where it was when Frank went on his big guitar excursion, going crazy with all his polyrhythmic guitar playing and everything. The band was vamping on ba-bow, 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 like that. And that's a lot of space, man. Watch us fall over the cliff.
Workers united, will never be defeated.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Workers united, will never be defeated. 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 Workers united, will never be defeated.
2, 3, 4.
Workers united, will never be defeated. Workers united, will never be defeated.
1, 2. So that's what goes on. There you have that. So what happens is that da da ba da 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 ba da 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 ba da da da, and then that's the space you've got to all come in together. You often see it with the band when there's a bit of silence, everyone's looking like that. And one thing that would happen sometimes is that you'll hear it on the album, but when you go and see the band live, you'll often just see the drummer up the back keeping that just on their lap or something like that. That's a trick of Steve Gadd with Paul Simon when he was doing that, all the Graceland stuff. And that beautiful album and that all those things that they did then. You Can Call Me Al and things. And one of the Steve Gadd things is that as soon as a song is finished, he'll start tapping the tempo for the next one. So there's not really a false start. Like this, like what I did before. And so what happens is that there's a lot of tricks of time, little things you can do. When you're clicking the sticks, sometimes you don't want that in the recording. You don't, like sometimes what goes on is you don't particularly want, like if you're doing a recording, you want a clean start for the recording engineer. So often it's like 1, a 2, a 1, 2, in case anything happens, instead of clicking all the way into 1, that kind of thing. That was a trick I learned when I was a kid. I had a bit of an older muso saying, "Nah, Chris, you just do this, no 3 and 4, because we had hands up." Oh, okay, no worries. 1, 2, 3, and then you're in. That's what goes on. Anyway, I better love and leave you. Okay, my apologies for that. I'm going to have a good laugh about that. Boink. And what happens is I'll have this up for you tomorrow. A couple of weeks for beloved Channel 31. Now, it's a bit back to the future. My beloved time slot of Wednesday 10 o'clock is now back. So it's a bit back to the future. Not a new time. I'm back to my old time of Wednesdays at 10. And then after that is impromptu TV with some beautiful people. We make clips during the lockdowns. It's not all music, it's music and then a bit of spoken word and a bit of this and a few little short stories and a few fractured fairy tales, hopefully funny, but sometimes it's not so funny because, it wasn't all fun and games, as I say, during our 6 lockdowns. And impromptu TV is really a testament to the people who pushed through. And I do love them dearly. If you're out there watching, mwah, all of you, you know who you are. It's like a little clutch that ended up coming together and doing lots of different things. And that the TV show Impromptu TV is a tribute to them. I do a lot of other stuff too, but basically what happens is, say, Magda Williams, if you're out there, she would say, give her some spoken word, her own words, and send them to me. And what I do on Continuum on Sundays, where I turn this more into a performance-based thing rather than a teaching thing, I use that as the underlay for the spoken word and the rest. So it's a bit drum-centric, of course it is, but that's what we do. We ended up with over 100 clips. And so that's the avenue for that. And it's going to be, sometimes it's happy, sometimes it's sad, sometimes it's, sardonic, all that biz. I sort of did a bit with T.S. Eliot as well. A bit of that. So there you have it. Anyway, I'm rattling on.
Practice.
Ba ba ba. Blah 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 blah. Hey.
Practice. Practice.